Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, what makes the world's most expensive car so expensive?
Also, TSA self-service checkpoints are going to make it a lot faster while also being a lot more dangerous. And more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
This is interesting. Home cleaning service Home Aglow. They just took a survey where they analyzed how much time everybody spends doing housework across the country, and then how much, if we were to get paid what we should get paid for the housework we do, how much we would be making. Like, what is our housework worth? How much housework do you think you do in a day?
Maybe like 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Feels like it.
That's high.
But I don't have a dishwasher, so
that's high.
I spend a lot of times every day washing dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Like every day.
I'll tell you,
dishes.
45 minutes a day, you're almost an average woman, Isaiah.
You would say, really?
Yes, very close. And that's not a joke.
That makes sense. You want to know why? Because I don't have any woman in my house to help me.
Yeah. Somebody's got it. Somebody's got to be the lady around there. But no, seriously, they found that men do an average of 19 minutes of housework per day, while women do an average of 49 minutes of housework per day.
And they say you're not helping out. Sounds like you're not helping out.
Yeah. You know what's even worse is, we can get to the money numbers in a second, but what's even worse is that men's amount of housework done per day has increased by 35% in the last 20 years.
Increased?
Yeah.
So they did nothing before.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Uh-huh. Like, well, yeah, around like when we were born, I guess we weren't quite born. But yeah, like in our lifetimes, men have gone from doing essentially nothing at home
My
to
grandfather was doing nothing.
doing a little bit of something at home.
He was doing nothing.
Yeah. But you talk about money, they use like kind of average wages of like the stuff you're doing if you hired somebody to do it. For men doing 19 minutes of housework per day, that equates to about $39,000 worth of chores per year.
What?
Wait, no. 3,900.
There you go.
Yeah, 3,900.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
I'm going to start cleaning up for 45 minutes a day.
$3,900 worth of chores per year for men, where women obviously doing like more than twice as much, almost 3 times as much. They are doing about $10,000 worth of household chores per year.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a lot of chores.
But you think about that, though. You think about this. The women are making less at working a real job, and then they're also doing more housework. How does that make any sense?
It's not fair.
It's not fair. Not at all. We need to change this. We need to start doing more housework. Yeah, you're already there.
I'm already doing it.
You're already there.
There's no lady in my house, so therefore I'm doing everything. Or is my house a mess? We don't know.
You're actually the reason that men's housework numbers have gone up since 2003. You're single-handedly responsible for the 35% increase.
Yeah, you think about, this is what's crazy too, is there's lots of guys who live by themselves, so they're doing a lot more housework. Whereas there's guys like you that are just bringing us down. We're averaging you out.
Or are the guys that live by themselves still not doing housework and living like slobs?
Not me.
I know some people like that.
I'm sure you do. Not in this house.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
But I had to get those. It's a Walmart exclusive. I had to go grab those at Walmart yesterday, and I ran into something at Walmart that I do not like. Isaiah, how do you respond when you're walking through Walmart and they have one of those like salesman guys that's like, let me talk to you about your electric company? What is your response?
I'm undefeated against them.
What do you mean?
They will never defeat me, and if you want to beat them every single time, I have the sure 100% proof way to defeat them every time. I've never been harassed by one. All you have to say is one statement. Ready?
Yeah.
I live with my parents and they pay for everything.
Yeah.
And then you say, and then they're going to say back, well, you can't be free. And I go, you can't be free, brother.
Yeah.
All righty. Well, you have a good one.
That's
it works
amazing.
every single time. Whether you live with your parents or not, you pay for your TV or not, whatever they're trying to sell you, internet, insurance, whatever it is, Just say my parents pay for it, and say you can't be free. I would love to buy whatever you have.
Yeah,
but I don't think you're gonna give me a deal that's free.
That's a great quote. How many times do you think you've used that?
I've used it every single time. I've never not used it. You can't be free. I'm sorry.
I'm glad that I heard you say that because I got a cost to buy one yesterday. And
you crumbled. How much insurance did you buy?
No. This time I just completely ignored the guy.
You didn't say anything back?
I didn't even acknowledge him.
That's
worse. And I don't like to, I mean, they're doing their job, but their job sucks. It's a stupid job. And so
they hate their job too, don't worry.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm doing everybody a favor by just not having us go through this charade. I'm never going to buy whatever it is they're doing. So I just feel like just me ignoring them is
so
actually
you didn't say anything?
I didn't say a darn thing.
Did he say like, hey, brother?
He didn't chase me down, no. He
didn't know,
he
like,
clearly addressed me. He says, hey, do you have this electric provider? And I just walked on by.
You're crazy for
I made
that.
a beeline for the potato chips. And
gosh, you're ruthless for that.
I felt pretty good about it.
How do you think that guy felt about that? He's like, I'm never going to make a sale.
I thought that I figured, well, first of all, he started with a yes or no question. And so my initial thought was, this all flowed through my mind in the short amount of time. But I was like, I just want to say, what is the right answer to get him to be like, oh, okay, never mind then.
Well, I just told you one of them. Yeah. Or you could do, I'm good on that, brother.
I'm good. Yeah.
Matter what he says.
But why can't I just ignore him then?
Well, it's nice to be able to say something back and recognize them as a human.
Yeah.
And then keep moving. I'm good. Thank you, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that before, but I just thought the walk on.
You thought the ignore probably made his day
more
better.
Effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not my job to make his day better.
Well, you're ruining his day is what you're doing.
Well, maybe
kick him while he's down. Why don't you?
Yeah. And then you know what else I did though? Because this is the real thing. You know how Walmart at the self-checkouts, they ask you to rate your experience? You want to know what I gave my experience?
What'd you give it?
4 stars.
4 stars?
You know, I gave it a 1. I
gave
it
a 1?
Yeah.
For what?
Because Walmart is the only store that has those guys.
No, they're in other stores. They're in Sam's Club.
I don't go to Sam's Club, which is owned by the same company as Walmart. Target would never do that to you.
They have them at the gym all the time.
I gave it a 1 star because here's what I'm thinking. Walmart is selling that spot. They don't have to do that. Oh, they're not making enough money otherwise. They're selling that company, whatever company it is, the spot in there. Because if that guy didn't pay, or not him personally, but if the company that he works for didn't pay to have that spot in there that Walmart offered to them, then he would be thrown out of the store for bothering people. So why are they selling that and making my experience worse?
Well, that's the same reason they're selling lots of things, so they can make money, brother.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't sell those spots if people didn't buy from there.
I know they do. That's why I'm going to be a Target man. They don't bother me that way.
You're boycotting Walmart.
Yeah, well,
let's get that down as a show boycott. Hudson boycotts Walmart.
Yeah. Radio U's Worst of the Riot podcast.
Interesting to see what people think about this. In Las Vegas at Harry Reid International Airport, we're trying something out that we've never tried before with the TSA. That is self-service TSA checkpoints. They've got one in Las Vegas. The first one ever. They're going to see how it works.
That seems like the opposite of what they usually do.
Of security?
Yeah, usually don't do it solo.
Yeah. And so the way it works is, I've watched a video about it here, is that you think about it, just about everything you do at the TSA checkpoint, you can do yourself. You know how to put all your stuff in the bin, and you slide it through, then you walk into the x-ray thing, and then you walk out. Screens can tell you to do all of that, right?
Yes.
And so that's the thought process, is that instead of having like multiple TSA people standing there telling you what to do, when you kind of, if you've ever flown before, kind of basically know what to do, they have like one person that kind of mans all of them from a screen. And then you just do it all yourself. And then if something gets flagged as they look at your x-rayed bag remotely and look at your x-rayed body remotely, from wherever they're sitting, whatever their office is, then they have to come get your stuff or whatever. it like goes down a different pathway.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm torn because it is true that you don't actually, if everybody's just following the rules and whatever, you don't actually need a person there. But also, is everybody going to just follow the rules and be able to figure this out?
Probably not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think, there's a lot of people that are going to be capable of this.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just some people that are really technologically challenged.
Yeah.
That this might be a struggle for them. Will the other way still be available? Or are they going all self-checkout?
Yeah. Well, they compare it to self-checkouts at Walmart and Kroger and whatever, and we know how those are going. So I guess so there'll be like one TSA person manning one checkpoint that's actually a manned one, and then there'll be 8 unmanned ones with one person monitoring them and always running around between them. And all of them will be very slow.
Well, if it makes it quicker and it's safe, then I'm totally for it.
Does it sound quicker or safe, though?
It sounds quicker.
It sounds quicker. I just feel like we're going to be, I don't know. How do you even tell? Because every time at the TSA, it feels like there's a long line. Even if it's not a busy airport with a lot of people, it just feels like you're waiting there for a while, in my experience.
Oh, every time.
How much slower could it get?
Exactly. And if there's eight of those things for you to walk through and you can do it yourself,
yeah,
then it has to be quicker.
And you think about people, the TSA people, it's one thing when you think they're seeing you naked when they're standing right there. But if you can't see them seeing you naked, then did they even see you naked at all?
See, I've never even thought about them seeing me naked.
With an X-ray thing, what do you think it's looking at?
That's not seeing you naked.
I think it is.
No, it's not. What are you, crazy? That is not seeing you naked.
What do you think it's looking at then?
It's looking at
taking a picture of your outfit?
It's just looking at a black thing, and you can't see underneath my clothes with that.
They can.
No, they cannot. I'm 100% certain they can't.
They're X-raying you naked.
You're telling me they can see my nipples through that X-ray machine? There's a 0% chance.
I don't know how detailed it is.
There's a 0% chance.
Detailed enough to see a bomb. I feel like it can see.
It cannot. It's just shapes, I think.
The stories you love with the opinions you hate. The Riot Radio U.
Isaiah, check out this link I just sent you. It is the world's most expensive car. It was just unveiled by Rolls-Royce, clocking in at about $31 million. Million dollars.
What makes it so great?
Well, it has high-density Santos straight-grain wood sections that took
means nothing to me.
That took 8,000 hours to create.
Wood? You're selling me $31 million worth of wood.
Yeah, in a car form. It says it took 11 months for them to craft all of those wood sections. 233 wood pieces were installed throughout the car, and 76 pieces are on the rear deck alone. It also says...
I didn't know that adding wood to a vehicle makes it that much more expensive.
When it's fancy wood, it really does.
The finest oak you can find.
Yeah. It says the veneer pieces, the wood, was also, this is a quote, subject to a punishing cycle inside a specialist machine simulating global weather extremes.
So what, this wood will never fade?
It should, it should be tried and true. No matter what you do with this car, the wood will still be there, standing strong.
I mean, this looks like a nice car. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like the most expensive car ever. And you got to think whoever buys this car, I mean, they're the worst.
They, I mean, it's some rich oil tycoon from the Middle East, I'm
sure. And he
sure.
needs the most expensive car ever.
Yeah. Well, they didn't just make this and then they're like, all right, it's for sale. Somebody commissioned this. This is like what they asked for.
I was going to ask, if I wanted the most expensive car ever, I feel like I would get to design it. Like, what happens if I don't like the color?
Yeah, I think...
it's in white. What if I want it in red? Is that $32 million?
I don't know if the red would go as well with the wood.
It wouldn't.
Yeah, it wouldn't match.
But I'm saying if I'm paying $31 million, I want to be able to do whatever I want with it.
Yeah, I think that's how it works. I think whoever came up with this, whoever paid for this was like, I want all that wood. I like wood a lot. put as much wood as you can, please.
And they were like, that'll be $31 million. We got this guy.
the individual's like, there's just something I find beautiful about trees.
He could have asked for anything. He could have asked for absolutely anything. I want the most expensive car ever.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want on it? I want a bunch of wood.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want, like, touch screens and a TV in there? No.
There's nothing more powerful than some birch.
I want it to be the most
wood.
expensive car, and I just want a bunch of wood.
Nothing that displays a sense of of arrogance. Like what? What I'll tell you, my problem with this car is, and you're definitely right, that if you or I were to get into this car versus like a standard Rolls Royce that any of us could buy, I mean, we can't afford it, but like whatever they sell, they just generally sell. I don't know that we would be able to sense which one is the $31 million car and which is the like just really actually expensive car.
Like when I Google, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When I Google Rolls Royce,
Mm-hmm.
just look at the images. It looks identical to some of these cars, just with wood.
Yeah.
It looks exactly the same. You should just get a regular Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
They're not anywhere near $31 million.
Much more bang for your buck.
Like this all-white Rolls Royce looks identical to this car.
But there's one other thing that I wanted to point out. I want to see if you agree. There's a video of it as well. If you go to like just past the 1 minute mark in the video, it shows the headrests, and it has like a two-tone headrest, like ombre kind of. But it just looks like somebody spilled something on the top of the headrest. Like it looks dumb. Does it look the same way to you? It looks like somebody had a really sweaty head.
It does.
Like why? You just paid $31 million for a car. Looks like somebody already used up your headrest. Like it was
look sweaty.
Salvaged from a garbage dump.
Add a little Riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
It's time for Love 'Em or Leave 'Em on the Riot. You guys text in at 8772 Radio. You decide if this couple should stay in love or if it's time to end things. The windy turnpike of love that we help you navigate. Today, a couple that's supposed to get married is having some difficult conversations. One of them being this guy's fiance says she doesn't want their kids in the future to take his last name.
Which last name is she going to give him?
Her own last name. Because she's decided that she's not going to take his last name when they get married.
Okay.
Which he's okay with.
Fair.
He's okay with that because I think she's some sort of doctor or something.
Oh, yeah.
They said it's like a job thing.
Yeah. But changing your name, it's it takes some work.
But she doesn't want, this is crazy. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
She doesn't want the kids to take his last name in the future. And he says, just so y'all know, my last name is an Asian last name.
Okay.
And her reasoning, which is wild, her reasoning on why the kids shouldn't have his last name is because it could be harder for them to get jobs or get into college with his certain last name.
Well, what's the last name?
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
Come on. I think that I feel like it matters.
But
I don't know if it does. I don't know if it does.
And he says, my last name is a very normal and is heritage last name.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's like, because there's some last names that people have where you're like, all right, I wouldn't want that last name.
Sure.
Because like, it sounds like you're saying something bad.
Yeah.
This is
like
not
what? Name one.
I'm not saying one of them.
You're not saying, I'll say one, Hitler.
There you go.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that last name.
No, you wouldn't.
But in this case, a normal in his heritage last name.
Mm-hmm.
She wants nothing to do with it. She's already not taking it, and she doesn't want the kids to have it. He's against it. She won't even do the dash. He brought up the dash.
Yeah. I feel like the dash feels like the way to go.
She's against the dash.
Solutions oriented. Love her or leave her. Can you leave her because she doesn't, if you have kids, want to give him your last name?
He's very upset. Understandably so. This is important to him.
All right. We need some we need to crowdsource this one. That's what Love 'Em or Leave 'Em is all about. 877-2 Radio U. Love 'Em or Leave 'Em. We'll see what people are saying coming up.
Oh, hi there.
This worst of the Riot.
Crank that up.
Radio U.
I'm Isaiah. What is the abbreviated version of this Love 'Em or Leave 'Em?
A husband is getting ready to get married to his wife. She has already talked it over that she doesn't want to take his last name. He's totally fine with that. Unfortunately, she also doesn't want the kiddos to have his last name. Her reasoning, and he states in it, I have an Asian last name because of our heritage. Her reasoning is that our kids will be disadvantaged when it comes to college applications as it's harder for Asian kids to get into some schools. Quote, he says, given my kid my last name is important to me, and I wouldn't even mind adding both names together to make a new last name.
Mm-hmm.
But she is still hesitant on that.
Wait. So she, now you say adding both names, obviously hyphen is one way. What if they make a whole new last name? Before we get to anybody else's suggestions. Nobody else has suggested that. What if you just mix the two last names together?
That's the wildest thing I've ever heard.
But it could work, right? Who makes the rules?
You can name your kid whatever you want.
Yeah, you can, right?
But what kid would want to have a last name different from both their parents? That seems kind of crazy.
It's not up to them. If you want them to have
well, you can name your kid whatever you want, but if it's such a big deal, just give him one of the names.
Another solution before we get to anybody else's solutions?
Make his last name Joey. I don't know. Just make it random.
Yeah, just make it something completely different. Or how about this? We pull a peekaboo street. You don't give the kids a last name, and when they're old enough, you pick an age, they get to decide which last name they want, or if they want something different.
They can always decide later on. Just give them a darn last name.
So here's what people are saying. Brian, leave him. She's already planning to leave. Just make it easy for everyone involved. This 2024 Smiths and Johnsons are already played out. That's Brian chiming in. Also, Todd, if she doesn't want his last name, fine. However, no way the kids don't have his last name. I guess it's over.
Boom.
We got to double leave him. Then we also have D, who says it's a serious red flag. If you can't get it worked out, then you don't need to proceed. It is something, that's true. You guys need to come up with an agreement. It's good that you're getting this out before you get married. She said, as for her reasoning, the Asian last name could be harder for kids to get into school and whatnot. She says, statistics show there's a higher percentage of Asians in AP scholarship, higher level academic stuff. So I don't think it's really a big deal. I think D gets at something good. I think this isn't a love him or leave him. You just need a really well-reasoned argument because you should be able to win this as the husband, as the guy with the Asian last name. You should just get some good statistics for her that show that she's all wrong about this. Tell her why she's wrong, and you should win, I think. Debate it.
Regina says, unfortunately, there's still people that discriminate based on name. Whether or not it's intentional, he has to make his own decision. But I say love her and stay with her as it's just a name. The kids may choose to change their last name to his one day anyway. That's a good point, too.
Yep. Carrie says she doesn't compromise at all. Sounds toxic.
That sounds a little toxic. Yeah. I won't lie.
Well, you think about going back to Regina's thing about people to discriminate on last names. Shouldn't the guy that already has a last name be the primary judge of that?
He could be.
Yeah, like if he doesn't think it's really held him back, then why would he worry about it for his kids? You know?
Fair.
It's actually, when you think about it, that's actually kind of crazy of the future wife to be like, your last name, it's held you back. And so I don't want it to hold our kids back. I feel like if he is comfortable with it, then that should be enough for everybody.
Philip says, you mentioned making a valid argument and explain to her why she's wrong could possibly change her mind. But he also says, as someone who's been married for like 13 years, I can say that it's very unlikely.
So is this an argument, Philip, that's worth preending the pre-marriage over?
Hard to say.
Yeah.
I think there's sides to both of it. But I would say, I mean, if she's not even willing to take the dash, that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this one's clear. The guy is in the right to me. I always, like, you're already engaged. So you guys must like each other. So I don't know.
But the good thing is, yet again, the kids can change it to whatever they want in like a handful of years.
Yeah. 18 years down the line.
Thanks for watching the worst of the Riot. Since you made it this far, you might as well like, subscribe, and check out riot.radiou.com for even more Riot.